So, just a quick run through of some things you might have heard of. So, everyone thinks Android's unsecure. iOS is more secure. Windows CE and Windows Mobile was more secure. Actually, the facts are that anyone that's running Windows Mobile, your software's out of date by 7 years. There's been no security patches since then, and it's actually the most vulnerable OS that's out there. Okay? So that's one reason to move already. However, everybody's seen these Android stories and in the paper, and here's a few, right? Fake ID. People were able to create fake accounts and log on. Stage fright. I'm sure many people heard about stage fright, right? That was on most papers. It was on the front cover of most of the newspapers. And 95% of the phones are open to attack. We had this one, Dirty Cow. Again, most serious Linux escalation bug, going down to the kernel of the device. And all these, you can click the link and have a read if you're interested later. Bit of bedtime reading. And every year, actually, Google release a security report. And it shows what security threats have been done, what's been patched, how long it took to fix, and what the occurrence were. And we can actually look at some of these, and I'll let Antonio go through what exactly these numbers mean in a second. But all this data is globally available to you today. Nothing's hidden, and with our partnership with these guys, I'll go through later how we're managing to solve some of these issues. But I thought it's just interesting to make the point that even with the transition of Windows to Android, we've all seen Windows Phone that's been out there and Windows 10. We saw the issue with the NHS and on their Windows XP devices, the ones that didn't get updated or got attacked, right? And the ones that had Windows Update, but surprisingly, were safe. So I always think of security as if you're not up to date, there's always a risk. Whether that's your Windows desktop PC, whether that's your handheld phone, whether that's anything that's running software these days, if you're not up to date. And also, interestingly, yesterday, if anyone saw the article, Bill Gates has now given up his Microsoft phone and is taking an Android device. So it even shows you that Microsoft owner has now taken an Android device. He still says he's got Microsoft 365 on it to do his email. I think taking a Gmail account might be too much. But Antonio, I'll let you get through the stats on that one.
Sounds good. Thank you very much, Mark. So as Mark said, every year we publish an Android security report. This is public. We're going to share the link also afterwards. It's 70 pages long, so quite heavy. We also have a very nice 20-minute video, which is an overview of the whole report. But in there we show many things, things such as how we improve the OS when it comes to security, all the improvements related to security, but also we show what we see in the news versus what's the reality. So here you can see 3 examples of vulnerabilities, where you can see the initial claim headlines, like we have all seen, like the 95% of the Android devices globally are infected. We see what's the unique APKs, the number of applications, and what's the peak exploitation after it has publicly released. So as you can see, the numbers are really, really low. We're talking about less than 8 devices in a million devices. But we even show after the before the public release, and then many times you cannot really see any exploitation. So it's really, there is a perception in the market that Android is less secure, which is not the reality. We have the facts, we have the information in order to prove that that's not the reality, what you see in the media. So when it comes, we're going to touch about several things in Android security, about security updates, about what do we do on the devices, how do we make them protect. One of important thing to keep in mind is that when we talk about Android, we talk all the time about what we say GMS, Google Mobile Services, which is all those devices that usually you see with YouTube, Google Play, Gmail. Now, you saw before, you have the option to lock down the device, so you don't need to have all these features within your Zebra device. So you don't want, I don't know, you're the guy in the warehouse to be watching YouTube videos, so you can obviously remove that application. But the idea is to, as soon, as when you use Google GMS devices or Android GMS devices, you're making possible all the features that we're going to be talking about. And a lot of that is related to the infrastructure within Google Play. And also you have many other tools that you can leverage on your applications.
Yeah, also, so GMS with the mapping and some of these solutions. So everyone's used Google Maps, I guess, to take them from A to B. But what actually could that be meant within an enterprise? So we're working with Google on route optimization, for instance, taking your manifest of jobs, optimizing the route to give you the correct route in the quickest time, in the right order that the guy wants to do it. So rather than just seeing a route there to go from A to B, this is a full waypoint to waypoint solution. We've got items such as the second one about information. So if anyone's ever gone to the train station, now you can see the trains that are appearing on Google Maps on that station. Or here, you might want to do it so you get to a location, and maybe this has got your own customized data in it. So you stop at a customer, and it says, actually, where is the best place to drop off that parcel? Is it at the front of the house, or is it at the back of the warehouse? So next time he goes, we can collect that data and move it. And these items can be collected and deployed instantaneously, pretty much. I think every hour, Google Maps is updated with new information and new statistics, and live with train times, with bus times, all those type of information. You've got the full driving model here, where you can do full front view navigation. So anyone that's seen Copilot or TomTom or those type of things, we've now got an enterprise version that you can run offline. So on your phone, if you've gone into the settings, you can download a map area. You can do this now for a large area dependent on a geo location of what you're doing. And then finally, Street View. An example here we've been doing a case study with is you're driving down the street and it says go to number 17. But when he gets to the street, wouldn't it be nice if it actually showed him what number 17 looked like? So it can change the screen so he knows what front door he's looking for. He knows exactly what he's looking for as he's going down that street. Again, saving the time and improving efficiency based on all the data that's been collected with the consumer world. So they're just some ideas that we've done with GMS. With the managed Play Store, we can lock down. With some of the browser functionality now that's been embedded in there, we can do restrictions and block down certain areas. And we're also seeing people use YouTube now for much more enterprise version things. So maybe they've got a set of links that they can put all their training videos on. Why use a different platform for showcasing the videos when they can have a private channel on YouTube that can be linked and restricted to their training videos? So all these things you use on a daily basis, how could you actually use them to improve your workers and your end users to improve it?
Yeah, thanks, Mark. I think it's a great example. This is just on maps, but we have APIs to use in not in every, but in many of the applications. So you can really leverage what we have in Google to develop your own applications. One of the fundamentals of the security within Google is what we call Google Play Protect. Really, it's a new name that we launched in Google I/O this year, and this to show everything that we do within Google Play to make sure that we protect devices, that we intercept all the potential malware, and we make sure that the devices don't have any potential harmful application. So this is running on every single Android device, independently of the OS level. And you can actually find, when you go to Google Play, My Apps and Games, you can see Google Play and how often it's checking for malware. So one of the things we do within Google Play is the analysis of the applications. As you can see here, it was scanned last at 12 o'clock, and this scanning again to make sure that there is no potential harmful application within all the applications that I have installed on my device. When we identify applications which have been installed and are risky, that we know that this is a harmful application, we are able to notify the user to make sure that they don't install that application. But even if it's a really big threat, big risk, we're even able to remove or uninstall that application to make sure that that device is always safe. And the idea is also with Google Play to show more visibility to the users, to the employees, about all the protections they have in an Android device. This is, obviously we apply all the scale of Google, all the machine learning that we do behind, in order to make sure that we protect all devices. So this is just some numbers. We already discussed about 2 billion devices out there which are all protected. We scan 5 billion applications per day. As you can see, this number is huge. This doesn't really match with the applications that we have in Google Play. And the reason is because we don't just scan applications within Google Play, but all over internet. We make sure that every single APK that is out there for Android is safe. And if it's a malware, that we can identify when that application is installed. So we make sure that those devices are protected. We have a feature called Verify Apps within Android, which basically what it's doing is scanning all the applications out there to make sure that they're safe and don't contain any malware. Do you want to run through this, Mark, briefly?
So just to add on what Antonio was saying around security, one of the biggest users of one of the APIs, we haven't got a slide, we should have put the slide up, I just thought now, there's a picture of about 1,000 people in a park, okay? And they're all on their phones, all using an application. Anyone got any idea what the application might be? Pokemon Go. Yeah, Pokemon Go. They're the biggest user of this security API, because basically their whole game is based on you know, going and finding the Pokemon. So if you fake your location, it pretty much ruins the whole game. So there's an example of how the security API has been embedded within application to make sure you're at the right place. So again, think you're a courier and you want to make sure he's in the right place at the right time and he can't fake his location. Using these type of APIs, we can be more secure. Or a great example is around premium text messaging. So where you text to a 5-digit number for a £5 donation to a charity, say. Fake applications that come up online, that the API is in there, so if you hit no, and maybe 5 people keep constantly hitting no on it, that then alerts that the application could be harmful, and it'll reject the application off the Play Store so no one else can download it. So those are kind of ideas of what we call in harmful applications. Not necessarily applications that are going to go and root your device or take your device apart or collect your data, but things that could, you know, force a £5 charge to a premium rate number. It might sound minor, but if that's on 1,000 devices, 10,000 devices, it all adds up, right? It goes there. So from a security side of things, Android actually run a program, and if any of you want to do this when you go home tonight, if you can find a security flaw in Android, they'll actually pay you. You go onto the website, they paid out $1 million last year in security hacks, flaws and issues that people had found. And you go online and you can register it, and if you found a flaw, they'll pay you out. So an interesting way that they can get fixes in. Those fixes then get wrapped into the OS release and deployed mainstream. So all these ideas give them a massive set of security researchers, and also it's a kind of a badge, right? A badge of honor. If you're a security expert and you're a developer and you can get one of these badges of honor of finding an issue, people want to do it. So I think it's a great way, and this is something that other OSs have never done, right? And it just gives them a massive ecosystem, just like the applications, to go and attack it. So we internally in Zebra as well, we do this as well, to try and find what we can from a security set. We have a security team that work alongside these guys to test and verify not only our own applications, but security risks that go through it.
I think that's a very good point. Having an open OS, it enables you to do these kind of things and to leverage the whole ecosystem to make sure that your OS is more secure. This is, yeah.
Independently verified. How or who does that? The independent.
There is third-party companies who do that. I don't have the information. I don't know if you do. Okay. Yeah. Okay. But anyways, also like any information that we cannot answer, like let me know and we'll get back to you. This is some numbers, which again is in the report from Android Security. This is back in, for those who cannot see, Q4 2014 all the way to Q4 2016. And this shows the rate of potential harmful applications within the Android ecosystem. So it has gone down to less than 0.05% globally. Again, this is global, so it's taking into account also like the B2C world. Obviously, when you go into an enterprise, it's even lower. But what I want to show you here is when you start to sideload applications and use third-party app stores, the rate goes up a lot, by 20x approx. So that's why we leverage, for example, the managed Google Play within Android Enterprise, because that's the safest way to install applications instead of having to sideload it or enable unknown sources. So it's to leverage the whole infrastructure of Google Play, but make it enterprise ready and make it customized for the companies. Actually, this is the process that we do to upload everything, well, that any company would do to upload an application, an APK into Google Play. So basically, once you upload it, there is analysis, a lot of machine learning which is applied, checking different things within the APK, and then you get a score, and then depending on that, it would be reviewed by people, and then either approved or rejected. Also, when it comes to an in-house application, something that you have developed that you only want to make available for your own company, for a specific customer, the process is quite similar, but you restrict that application. So when you upload that application, you have a way to restrict it just for that specific domain or company to make sure that it's not publicly available, but still you make use of all these features to make sure it's protected. And the idea behind obviously is to make sure that as IT, you know that all the devices, all the OS, everything that your employees are using is completely safe and that you don't have to be worried about all this. I want to finish with this slide because I don't like to mention other OS in our presentations. I tend to talk more about Android and know what others can do. But this is coming from Gartner, so it's not coming from me. So in here it shows that this is from last year, that Gartner rated that Android has more mobile device security controls compared to iOS. And this is comparing Android Marshmallow, Android 6, with iOS 9. So it shows a good comparison of certain features, such as safe browser, selective wipeout of the device, and many others, which are available in Android, but not in other OS. So really, again, it's a mentality, it's a perception of what's more secure. Many people still think that other OS. And actually, I encourage you to, this same, where was it? Yeah, here. This is something that we make it public, that is available for everyone to download. Would be nice to have also similar things from other OS, and I encourage you to try to find that information. So really we want to show that Android is secure, that it's a reality, and that, together with Zebra, we make it possible. And I pass it to...
Okay, so we've heard about the fact Android's open source and all the great things they're doing. So from a Zebra perspective, we also looked at what can we do in partnership with these guys to improve it even greater. So we take the solid foundation of what we had with Android Enterprise, the whole consumer world, but from our world, we focus on what we're good at, which is enterprise businesses focusing on a task, locking it down with an enterprise mobility management tool, or if you've got it standalone with a kiosk mode or a browser that's locked down. You know, not everybody needs a full MDM if you've only got a few units. but we also understand that the majority of people want to have a connected device to a system. And then what's really important is to make sure that your security life cycle of your product is up to date, is relevant to what we are today, and to stop the issues that we discussed earlier around not keeping up to date and not having the latest. So around 6 to 8 months ago, we launched a program we call Lifeguard, okay? That's not, someone in Baywatch running down. It's our security management that's available, and it's free with a support contract. So we wrap it in, so if you drop, smash, and damage your unit, we wrap it in, so software as part of that service. I'm just going to run through a few of the benefits that we've done alongside Google. Now, if you look into the marketplace, there's actually only 6 vendors that are offering this service today. We're the only one in the enterprise, and actually out of the 6, we're actually more up to date and more frequent than the actual Google Pixel team. So it's quite interesting. In internal development, we're actually faster than, so we're quite proud of actually on that one. To do this, we have 100 engineers just dedicated to this. So 10% of our R&D of developers and engineers are focused on this. And that's due to the fact we're running it across, I think, 12 devices and probably around 50 different operating systems and devices combined. So what are we doing? So based on the feedback from our users from 2013 to today, these were the questions and concerns that came up, okay? The enterprise is seeing the consumerization, we need to keep up to date. But to keep up to date, we need to also keep secure. We need to adopt, and we know that the fact that the latest OSs are the likely ones to be attacked. So if we look at the stage frightened items, they were attacked on the latest. Now, because we're keeping up to date and we're going to launch Nougat, we're running Marshmallow. If you look on the stats, the majority of people are running Marshmallow devices out there. Nougat is still quite low, even in the consumer world. I think today there's probably, 5 to 10 realistic phones that are running the latest. So if you think of the latest really as N-1, that's really what we're talking about with the majority of them. So every month, Google releases a security patch. It's available to any OS manufacturer. They get the update, we get a release note, and we get the files that can be compiled into the OS. This means that we can release now every 30 days a security lifeguard patch, which you can choose to update your unit, okay? And I say choose because we don't force anything down. There's no user push to update. There's nothing that you have to take this. This is your choice, okay? You might want to push it down once a quarter, okay? And we wrap them up into quarterly updates again. So you just push one file down. But it means you can test, you can be up to date, and if there is a critical thing that affects your device, so let's take, you use the device under the 4 walls. You're only using wireless, you're not using Bluetooth, it's all turned off. Probably if you see a critical patch for Bluetooth, it doesn't affect you in any way because Bluetooth's turned off and never been used. But wireless attack, oh, I need to get that done. So you can download the patch, you can test, you can validate, and then you can push that out using your MDM to your devices. And these patches are in kilobytes. We're not talking about 50 meg, we're talking about small patches that go on top of it. And then we wrap them up into quarterlies. But we're doing this quarterly on the N-2 as well. So what do I mean by that? I mean that we're gonna take the latest update and provide 30 days, but on the one below that, we're gonna wrap them up into quarterly. So we're advising people here on this security transition period that we're gonna continue to support the OS previous to the latest for another year. That gives you 1 year to test, validate, and update to the latest version, if you wish. If you want to carry on the older version, then fine, keep going, we'll support you. We've got no problem in you running KitKat forever and a day, okay? But we're not going to provide security patches on KitKat until 1 year after, unless you want to work with us on an extended life of that unit. Now, you said to me, Mark, why can't you do it on the ones below? Well, I've just said we probably have 50 OSs today we're supporting. As we provide more OSs, and provide more products, it just becomes unsustainable for us to continue providing patches on every single version of every OS on every device. So for 12 months, we're happy to carry on, and we advise you to move forward, to take advantage of the new features, to keep up to date on the security. Okay? So that's what I'm calling the OS. Now, on a total different world, most of these devices are out in deployments for 5-7 years, yeah? And there's going to be a point where we come end of sale of that unit. So when we come end of sale, the majority of you will have a support contract to carry that unit on for maybe 2, 3, 4 years, depending on the lifetime of when you bought that unit. What we'll carry on doing is we're going to carry on doing security patches on the latest version of the OS for 2 years after its end of sale, okay? So in reality, what does that mean? So let's take the TC56. Where is it? The small sexy one. It's here. So let's take this unit, okay? We released this earlier in the year. Start of the year, right? So say 2017. We're going to ship that for 4 years, okay? So we'll be shipping it till guaranteed at least 2021, okay? And I'm told you already we're guaranteeing it to go to O, okay? So say N comes in October this year, and let's say an estimate of O comes September next year, right? So September 2018 we're going to have O, okay? So say we can't put any other OS on there, you know, hypothetically, we stop with O at the end of 2018, okay? The end of support from Google, realistically, for O will probably come, Antonio, when 2 years after that, 2 to 3 years after that, okay? So say 2021. So what we're going to do is we're going to backport the OS patches that were in P, R, S, whatever we were on by 2021, and put them back into O for 2 years after. So maybe 5 years of when Google aren't supporting the OS, we're going to actually backport fixes from the later versions downwards. And why can we do that? Because this software is open source, it's available, we control the software, and we can keep you up to date and going. And if you want it later, again, we can work on a model to do that. Now, clearly, as I say, there's an investment from our side and an investment from your side if it's something you want to do in an older version or for a longer period after that. But I think you can see the investment we're putting into this program to keep these devices secure, to fix issues, and to keep up to date. As we know, the enterprise, if something critical comes down, it needs to be fixed and patched. And an example of that, which happened September the 12th, so what are we on now? 2 weeks ago. So anyone that's kept up to date with the press will have heard about this, an attack, a Blueborn, a vulnerability on iOS, on Android, on Windows Mobile, actually on pretty much all devices that had Bluetooth 4, I think it was, and above. So what does this mean? Clearly, if you use Bluetooth, there's a vulnerability there. But from a Zebra Lifeguard perspective, this was released on September the 12th. We actually patched it and fixed it, and it was available from our support center on September the 8th. You say to me, how did you do it before it was even launched? That's because actually the agency found this, Google fixed it, Google released it to their OEM partners a month before. We wrapped it up and deployed it before the public announcement on September the 12th. So that meant before the public even knew, we had a fix and it was deployed. And there's an example there, right, of a device saying you are safe. You can see a Note 8 that's around, but the application checks, verifies, and down. So if anyone's got an Android device, I suggest you go on to the Play Store now, download this app, a Blueborn scanner, and see how many of your devices are secure. I reckon in this room, what do you reckon, Antonio? I'll be amazed if anyone has one that this comes up, it's secure. I saw yesterday Samsung actually released a patch for it, but even on my device I haven't had it pushed down, so be interesting to see who on that one. So there's an example of how we managed to get the investment done, deployed, before it's done. Here's just a quick recap for if anyone wants a quick overview, a bit of bedtime reading. But I think this is the critical one for me. You're never forced to accept it. Anyone with an iOS device knows after 90 days you're forced to accept the update to to keep running and connect to their stores. That's not the case here. If you don't want to update, you don't. We recommend you do, but we don't force anything. There's no user intervention. And what we're going to do launch next year is we'll have a mechanism where you can use in your MDM, you can talk to our support servers, you can get the latest version, and you can get it to automatically convert it down and push down. Here's just another quote, and this is from the US Department of Homeland Security, so not from me, but they also agree. Keeping up to date is the best way to keep secure, and there's a whole article there you can read around the fact that by keeping secure, you're keeping people less likely to be attacked, even though it's on the latest version. And that's everything from a security side. So I know we've gone through a lot there, and we've gone through a whole selection of things. So I'll take us a minute, and if anyone has got any questions on security, we can probably do them now rather than after we've seen a few videos and everyone's seen some great use cases. Anyone got any security or GMS or any concerns or worries on what we've just shown?